It's not working. Oh. Do you hear me? Yes, right now. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second panel. We have a topic, theory of change for the Western Balkans in building a peaceful and secure Europe. So welcome once again, and we are so happy here with us. We have Ms. Diana Francesca Duberio, International Cooperation at Frontex and former parliamentary advisor. Welcome, Diana. Mr. Philip Filic, spokesperson at the Young Southeast Europe Association. Welcome, Philip. And Mr. Sohail Ahmeti, Youth Peace and Security Environmental Activist, also the director of Astronomy Club of Kosovo. Welcome, Sohail. So, we can start with Diana. Diana, the Western Balkans are increasingly, sorry to mention myself, maybe you know me, I'm committed from the last session. I will be moderating this panel, so feel free also, don't take as traditional panel, please feel free to think and to analyze and also to make questions to the panelists. In the end of the session, we will have also a hot seat for you guys to challenge, also to share your ideas and to make questions. So, Diana, the Western Balkans are increasingly recognized as active contributors to European security, especially through cross-border cooperation and immigration management. Can you provide us concrete examples of how specific Western Balkans countries have demonstrated leadership or innovation in these areas, and what lessons can EU member states draw for them?
Yes, sure. First, I would like to say that maybe it's not common knowledge that Western Balkans are leader in security. And why is that? Because now we can see that cross-border cooperation, security has become a very hot topic at the level of EU policy. But when a topic becomes very hot at EU policy level, this does not automatically mean that our countries are in the discussion and are in the topic. And let's be real here, usually the approach is a very paternalistic one. At EU level, we have the hot topics, we have this security issue, migration management that has become increasingly debated. And the Western countries usually decide, and we follow the path. That's how it's been, most of the times. What I want to argue here is that for Western Balkan 6, this is a huge opportunity to change the narrative. And I think it's very important to act on it. Why is that? Because now, for the first time, these countries have the possibility to portray themselves as concrete and active architects in building the security in Europe, and not just passive actors that are importing whatever Brussels dictates, as sometimes it's been perceived. And I would also argue that this is very important for Western Balkans for their accession ambitions. Why? I have two arguments here. Firstly, that from the start, this is something that is created. The EU is creating its image as a security actor. The EU has not started. It has started as an economic project, as we all know, and it's building now this image, and the Western Balkans can contribute to it from the start. And secondly, by being active in cross-border cooperation and migration management, this helps immensely for the negotiation process, especially Chapter 23 and Chapter 24 on matters related to home and justice affairs. So we first have this perspective of Western Balkans being from the start of this reshaping of Europe and the EU as a security actor, being in the process, and then we have them contributing to their negotiation agenda. And now talking concretely about how they help in this regard, coming back to your question, I would like to speak directly about how Western Balkans cooperates with different EU agencies, for instance. And I'm thinking here about the EU Agency on Asylum or the European Border and Coast Guard Agency, Frontex, where these countries in the Western Balkans are not just receivers of donations. We have the instrument for pre-accession. They receive funding. They are active in cooperating on that. It's not that the Commission, the European Commission comes and says, okay, we give you this funding and you do whatever. There's a constant dialogue, an ongoing dialogue where the authorities in the Western Balkans discuss permanently with officials what they need, how they perceive migration. And these European agencies, for instance, Frontex, they have this role of supporting member states. They surveil the external borders. And here, they cooperate shoulder to shoulder with Western Balkans, something that specific member states like Hungary, because of the political situation, is not able to do. So this is an extremely useful and interesting tool to look at, how a non-EU country can cooperate and use the portfolio of an EU agency even more than what a member state can do. For this instance, I was thinking about Hungary because the cooperation is at a minimum level. Also, these agencies like Frontex is deploying standing corps officers, so EU officers on the territory of this country that serve shoulder to shoulder with Serbian, Bosnian, Montenegrin officers in the territory. Together, they tackle irregular migration, they assess the migration flows coming from the sea into the European continent, and they share data, sensitive data. This is a very important upgrade, I would say, in the cooperation, that it's not something to be taken for granted. And again, many member states have not reached this level. And here, in this regard, we see a concrete example in matters of border cooperation, justice and home affairs, where sensitive data, security-related issues are not discussed by the EU and then we give you something, we inform you what you should do. On the contrary, it's done in parallel, in a manner of partnership, and I think that's extremely valuable, and it's an opportunity that also for youth to see that even though the context of EU accession might seem bleak, we have concrete areas of cooperation where the Western Balkans are in it, are more than just there for the discussion because it's pre-accession. So I think for this matter, the perspective is optimistic and has plenty of room for growth.
Thank you, Diana. I want to focus on the topic regarded on the answer that you gave. Despite ongoing political complexities, the Western Balkan states have managed to work effectively with the EU institutions and agencies on security and border management, you already mentioned. So how do you see the balance between the operational success and also the political discourse evolving, and what are the risks of continuing with one size-fits-all approach from you?
Yes, unfortunately the discrepancy between the political discourse and this operational cooperation is still huge, because let's take a simple example of Serbia, where the EU accession perspective seems very bleak, but on the other hand, as I mentioned in this experience on how they're cooperating, like the Ministry of Interior and how it's cooperating with EU institutions and with agencies, the cooperation it's at the highest level it has ever been. Like, so on the one hand, at political level, you have this discourse that has become very general all over Europe that, oh, we want to stay independent, we are taking care of our sovereignty, but at the same time, you're allowing European officers to have executive powers on your territory because it's beneficial. And this is done and it's accepted by the Serbian authorities, but then at the political level, of course, you can't show that and you can't portray that. And going now to this EU enlargement perspective and the one size fits all approach, of course, here we also have the EU to blame, and we have to say it frankly, because enlargement has been used as a way of building up the geopolitical image of the EU. Has been used as a tool for security and for creating this mechanism that enhances the power of the EU. And we have seen it, this one-size-fits-all approach in many instances when we talked about the accession of Central and Eastern Europe, and it has not worked properly, for instance, in the case of Romania and Bulgaria. Then with the Eastern Partnership, who remembers that the Eastern Partnership involved 6 countries and that Belarus is part of that? Now, the only country that has a, let's say, realistic EU accession perspective is Moldova, and the same in the Western Balkans. The perspective for EU accession on the Western Balkans was done in a context, war context, when the US kind of pushed the European Union to take action and in its neighborhood. And that's when the EU discovered a very useful tool, EU enlargement, because EU enlargement, even without the concrete perspective of becoming an EU member, offers a very important instrument for assuring security, and that is the positive conditionality. We love it. We in Romania, we love the positive conditionality. You became a candidate member, you receive all this funding, a new world is opening to you, you can access EU funding, make projects. All these things sound great, but when we look at how it has been done, it remained somewhere in the back of the political process, because this has not been adapted. It's the same situation since some Western Balkan states have become candidate members for EU accession. It has been the same rhetoric, offering these packages, this positive conditionality that actually don't even mean anything, because now the world is opening. We see a lot of investments from China, from Gulf countries that are coming in, so they are not that attractive anymore. And with this positive conditionality, where a lot of funding has been given without being transferred, these good actions that the EU has done have not been reflected at EU level. Maybe the EU has an issue with marketing its good doings, but in a way, they were given to these governments that now are leading hybrid regimes, authoritarian regimes, and have given kind of a legitimacy, as we see in the case of Serbia. So this is damaging, in the end, the image of the EU, I would say. So coming back and concluding, this universal approach for all of these countries and not taking into account the local agency is having a negative impact long term, and it's legitimizing these governments that, yes, for the EU it sounds good because they keep implementing. The process is the same. We just have to fulfill criteria, and these governments, they kind of do somehow. We negotiate with them, but if you just look at those criteria and fulfilling a list and you don't look at how this reflects on the political level, you lose the bigger picture. And I think this is something where the EU could work on and take into account the local context more. We are Balkans, we love it, but we're not all the same. And that's the beauty in it, and the country-specific developments need to be very well taken care of. Because the example I gave you previously with high-level cooperation in specific fields will not matter in the end if at the political level we end up in the same situation where you have a government that deals with the EU, but then in front of its people also paints such a bad image on the EU.
Regarding to the context that you already mentioned, that we are not the same and that we change as countries, even in Western Balkans countries, we have some different contexts of considering the robust cooperation between Western Balkans countries. Do you believe intra-regional collaboration is under-leveraged and EU occasion context? And how should the EU further support or adapt to this tailored of field level partnerships to better reflect the reality on the ground? Because we know that we step up a lot of problems that they should put on the ground and discuss with each of Western Balkans country about it. You mentioned also Serbia, but we have Montenegro, Kosovo, also Albania, North Macedonia, also a lot of Greece. And how do you think what EU should do to put the occasions to the topics, in reality topics that matters for all of us?
Yes. Firstly, what I would like to see is, as you mentioned, the interregional cooperation. I think we should have more interregional cooperation among ourselves, firstly, before the EU steps in and does something. When it comes to offering support, assistance, funding, even advice, I don't see EU member states from the Balkans like Croatia, Romania and Bulgaria that active. The most active member state in the Western Balkans is Germany. Germany has a really strong footing in offering support. And I think it will be important for us to also offer for the member states that already deal with this process to also have a bigger role, to say. But we fought so hard to get into the EU, and now that we entered in the EU, we are in a way more Catholic than the Pope. We're better than you now, no? Because we fulfill the Copenhagen criteria. Debatable in the case of Romania and Bulgaria. So we kind of forget where we came from and leave this part unattended. Sorry, you have a question?
What about Austria? Only Austria was asked.
Yes, Austria as well.
Same.
Someone from Austria here?
You will have the opportunity in the end of the session to sit in the hot seat, and you will ask kindly and also share your own opinions about that. And you will have time for it, so don't worry. You have to say that you will continue? Or?
Yes. Indeed, Austria and Germany are very active in the Western Balkans in offering assistance and also sharing knowledge. That would be That would be something important. Also, at diplomatic level, we have all these discussions that, of course, we are all supporting the Western Balkans. If you talk to, I don't know, the Romanian diplomatic service, they would tell you that, of course, it's a priority and they're supporting, but then how are you actually doing it? Because here it will be important to have concrete tools and concrete actions to share knowledge. We know how much we struggled with Schengen, for instance. And for that matter, it shouldn't take for Montenegro, because now Montenegro is the priority and seems to be the one to enter as soon as possible the EU. It shouldn't be the case for Montenegro to wait 18 years to become a Schengen member, as it was for Romania and Bulgaria, and maybe this should be done at the level of the Council of the European Union by these member states and by the EU as well. The EU should also be in a position to acknowledge its past mistakes when dealing with Eastern Europe and with Balkans, and it has been done. So going now to the EU side, what the EU should do, I think it's a matter of listening and embracing what this part of Europe is saying. But for that, we need involvement. We need countries that are already at the table. I mentioned Romania, Bulgaria, Croatia, to be active in it. When they go to the Council of the EU, to really have a say and to present their perspectives. And we didn't always like how we were treated. We should say it. And our experiences, how we entered the EU, should also enter the collective memory. And this is more of a part that also relates to cultural diplomacy. But I believe cultural diplomacy, it's something we could all benefit for in the long run, and it's something that I think can change the political discourse long term as well. Because when Romania entered the EU, for instance, we didn't enter because we were recognized as belonging to the EU. We entered because for us it was a matter of security, it was a matter of trying to be part of a family we always longed for, to be part of a standard of life. While the West does not perceive Eastern Europe and the Balkans as belonging. And I argue this has to change. The Balkan culture, the collective memory, what the historical events that were happening in this part of Europe belong to Europe, and this should be shown. And this has to be done through more cultural diplomacy, to EU delegations, EU offices, not just through criteria and fulfilling all this, because we can talk about EU values as much as we like, but we have to acknowledge that our part is also, what we have here belongs to the EU values, and it should be embraced as such.
Thank you, Diana. I hope so. We will have time also for the questions of the audience, so we will also elaborate their concerns. So I'm continuing with Philip, Mr. Philip. When we talk about the theory of change of youth in the Western Balkans, what kind of future do we realistically envision as a part of EU? And how can youth people shape their voices, that vision in the way that goes beyond symbolic of participation?
Thank you for the question, and also thank you for having me. It's my first panel ever, so I'm kind of nervous, but I hope that I still will be able to get my points across. Unlike Diana, I will not be able to improvise, so I have some notes here. Basically, when I first heard about the topic of today's panel, I didn't know what the theory of change was, and I guess some of you also don't know about it. So let me briefly explain it. Basically, it's a concept that deals with the question, or analyzes how interventions or any kind of actions could kickstart a development to reach a certain goal. And with this as a theoretical background, I would like to continue my speech. To be honest, I began reading and I quickly got bored because I'm much more interested in the practice of change than in the theory of change. But still, I think that the theoretical framework is very important because I think it's, as it is right now, very flawed. This is because I think that we have yet an unclear goal, so we don't know when we will join the European Union. We don't know how it will look like, and especially how the EU will look like once it gets even bigger than it is now, once it has 6 more member states to it. And we really cannot imagine how this looks like, and we should be more concrete when we talk about those goals. And when it comes to change or the notion of change, I think it's also very biased. This goes into the direction that you mentioned in the end. I mean, first of all, we need a reason for change. I think the theory of change really needs a reason. Like, we need a reason why we should change in the first place. And then we should be clear about what is change at all and how can it be best achieved. And now coming to the biased part, when I read the slogan of the conference here yesterday for the first time, actually, honestly, which goes something along the lines of European values for Southeast Europe, I was kind of disappointed and also sad because I do disagree. I think, and this is your argument as well, that our values are also European values. Also, European values. Also European values. If we talk about this, we should be clear about what we really mean, because I mean, if we refer to European values, we don't really think about the Hungarian understanding of the rule of law or the Bulgarian understanding of the fight against corruption, for example. So really having this conception of European values as being perfect is not really true, and we should have this in mind, I think. And also by really subordinating ourselves to those European values which we strive to adopt or adapt to, I think we are diminishing our own values, which are already great. I think we have the best mentality here in the Western Balkans, in all of Europe. I don't think that we really need to change a lot, and we can instead bring a lot to the table. And our values are already European as they are right now, and I think the European Union should rather accept our values as they are. Of course, it's more complex than that, but yeah. Thank you.
You're continuing.
Yes,
yes, please. Sorry.
That's okay. What I want to say is that it's not really about integrating just into a European Union, which is also, like, to be honest, to some part at least, dysfunctional when it comes to decision making, and seemingly also unable or at least unwilling to take us in. It's more about, together with them as equal partners, to transform into something new. And here, like, I personally am a big fan of European Federation or United States of Europe, and you don't have to agree with me on this point, but I think it's very important that we create our own new narratives and new goals, and they can remain vague for the moment, but I mean, we are still young, we are developing new strategies and new goals, and all the narratives and goals and strategies that are changing, also through us or because of us, they can change, but the thing is that the actors will not change. We are still the actors. We will always play a role, and it's really us and it's our generation that will play a central part here. And if youth inclusion, which you mentioned in the last part of the question, should not be only symbolic, it needs to be proactive. And this means that we should talk and push our ideas, our narratives, and our values. And it's not about becoming like the European Union or about Western Europe or like Germany or Austria or any other country. It's more about bringing ourselves in, also into the discussion, and changing all of Europe as it is.
Thank you, Philip. You mentioned youth, but I want to, regarding to the youth concept that you were mentioning, many young people struggle daily with that whole abstract idea, join the EU, translate into concrete steps and effects in their daily lives. From we stand today, I want to ask you, what are some realistic, actionable roles youth can take on to become true participant in the process, not only of the observer?
I guess this is somehow connected to the idea that I introduced in the first question. I think the key word is proactivity. Change needs to be a joint action by all of us, and we all should understand ourselves to be change makers. And as change makers, or as it is in the literature, agents, we need agency. Agency refers, I guess most of you know, to the notion of having the ability to create our own thoughts and our own decisions, to take those decisions by ourselves. And for that we need local and also youth ownership, and agency cannot be given, but it must firstly be claimed and secondly taken. I think we should thus understand that this whole process is our project. It's a project of our generation. It's a life commitment, I guess, and it's of course a difficult and process, and it will require a lot of struggles, and it's not easy, of course. You know about all the problems, and I'm not talking here, speaking or telling you anything new here, I think. And we all know that it's a long-term project, and long-term projects can, in my opinion, only be successful if they are understood also as being self-fulfilling. So you should, if you do something, really have the feeling of, I'm doing something that I really like. And I think this is the best motivation of, or best reason, or way to motivate people to really proactively change and shape society. And before that, before getting the feeling of, I'm doing something that I really, really like, we should maybe ask ourselves, what do we really like? Literally, it's that simple, I think. And I think all of us, excluding me, have hobbies. For example, as social media creation, playing music or doing sports or something similar. And I think that those hobbies can be, for example, a good tool and a new method also of pushing our own narrative. And I would say that we should all try to do what we love, and then try to also connect it with the European idea, and also with the European integration or whatever, and improving our societies in the Western Balkans. And we should also, I would say, try always to build our own skills and capabilities to the greatest extent possible, going out of our comfort zones, as I'm doing right now, because I'm really not the most outgoing person ever. But yeah, I would say that we should all try to see what's out there. Maybe also go to those are recommendations, you don't have to follow them, of course, but maybe check with the Europe House in your community and then see what they're offering, or go to some NGOs in your community and then maybe do an internship with them. Some of them will not have a scheduled internship program, but they will still be happy to have you there, working for their idea and whatnot. Because, for example, I'm currently interning with Raiko in Sarajevo, and they don't have this they don't have a foreseen program for interns. They don't really plan with me applying, but still they accepted me, and now I'm here, and I think it has paid off. And I would just encourage you, I would like to encourage you to also try those things and really to proactively search for possibilities to engage with stakeholders. And maybe you could also start some local initiatives. I was thinking, for example, about going out and cleaning the streets, because we all know that the pollution and like we see all the trash in the streets. I mean, here I didn't see anything actually, but like when you come to Bosnia, you will see it, or Sandžak, for example, in Serbia. But not only there, it's everywhere. And I mean, just go there and maybe start to clean up the streets, because we've heard this also in the morning today. Fridays for Future in Germany also started like that. I mean, there was one protest and then it evolved into something big. And I think we can all do our own part, for example, in this case, then to work on a green agenda to the extent possible personally and also locally. And I just want you to encourage to be pioneers, and I think I'm really confident that this will then eventually impress state institutions, or if not state institutions, then probably society, and I think this is even more important.
Thank you, Philip. I think this topic is really that matters, that the youth should be engaged, and also youth participation will be in the center of every topic that we discuss as Western Balkans and more. Regarding to this, I will ask you, how can we better connect the youth activists and engagement with the things that young people really care about in this time? We know that technology has developed, and what they really enjoy, maybe content creation, music, art, or sports, so that participation becomes a form of self-expression, not rather as echo or obligation at all.
I guess it's very, very strongly connected to the things that I was saying before. I guess I don't know what your hobbies are. I guess all of you use social media and really like and enjoy posting. I mean, you can use this as your own megaphone and then just produce content on your own and talk about the European project, or what you personally envision Europe to be like. And I think this is something that really does make an impact, and at least it has the potential. And then when it comes to music, you can produce, I don't know, a new national anthem for the European Union, whatever. I mean, I'm just brainstorming right now. What was the question again?
The question was, my phone keep me scammed. My question was that how we can be connecting the youth activism and engaged with things that really youth people enjoy or have matters for them, like content creation, art, sports, music, and not to be just bored or obligation for them to join the process.
Okay, I think I gained back the train of thought. Firstly, I think you should...
you can start by yourself.
Yeah, I mean...
Your experience, for example.
Okay, for example. I mean, firstly, I think it's important to know about your hobbies and what you really like, and then shape or brainstorm about, or maybe ask ChatGPT what you can do to really make an impact. And personally, I don't know how it started with me becoming more interested in European policies. I mean, I'm from Germany, but I have roots in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm coming from a village next to Tuzla, and I discovered, for example, LinkedIn to be a great platform for really producing content and talking about the conferences that I'm attending, and also briefly summarizing them, and letting other people having part in the things that I'm doing and learning, hopefully learning something new. I don't know who reads my posts, but yeah, I mean, at least it's out there and everybody can read it. And I mean, one side, I mean, I'm also profiting because, I mean, I was contacted through LinkedIn to be here. So, I mean, I guess it pays off to some extent. But even if it doesn't, I mean, it's still your way of communicating with the outside world. And social media is just an example. Social media can also be good when it comes to peace building, which is also very essential in our region, also for the conference panel here. So, for example, I'm currently writing my master's thesis on digital peace building in Bosnia and Herzegovina and how NGOs use social media or different platforms to foster reconciliation, to create content which really inspires people to make change, to build peace, to reconnect communities. And yeah,
Thank
I
you,
hope
Philip.
this is good enough.
Okay, I hope that you are not tired. Okay, we will continue with Suel. Mr. Suel, the Western Balkans are often framed as post-conflict like region and wanting room for EU occasions. How can we reframe this narrative to highlight the region, especially its youth, as co-creators of peace, security and innovation within Europe today, not just in the future? Because you know you work in Kosovo with youth, peace and security agendas, like with activities and in science field. So how do you see that? How you explain in, please?
Thank you, Kimeta. You still awake? Okay. I know we ate lunch earlier, and usually after lunch, all our blood goes in the stomach. That's why we feel tired. But thank you for your attention. My name is Suel. As my colleague Kimeta introduced me, I come from Pristina, Kosovo. I don't know if you have been to Kosovo before. You have, some of you. It's just in the northern part of North Macedonia, but I'm a youth peace and ambassador of United Nations. I do so many things. If you ask me, it's like this tree branch that has spread its branches everywhere. So I'm involved in youth work, activism. I also run an observatory in Pristina, which I love science and astronomy, and I try to mix the astronomy, not astrology, like we had Menti yesterday. But I tried to mix this with diplomacy and also inter-ethnic trust and cooperation. But Europe often sees the Western Balkans as something like it's post-conflict, you know? It's like a waiting room, like where some patients waiting in the corridor and waiting to be called in. But it's not like that, and I think this narrative should change because it's outdated. And I see, especially in Kosovo, I see young people who have different initiatives, they have startups, and they continue to be successful. And we are not just, waiting, we are contributing. Like one of the most famous festivals is by Dua Lipa. Actually, if you don't know, she's from Kosovo. She's organizing it every year in Kosovo, and she's managing to bring different world-known singers and artists, which tells that this part of the region is also in Europe and is also contributing in many areas. So I grew up in Kosovo, a country who it was in post-conflict, but these initiatives come from us, from young people, like the Bounded Observatory in Pristina. It was abounded for more than 40 years, and we had an initiative to promote inter-ethnic trust and collaboration, which we had different communities coming from all over Kosovo contributing to the reopening. So we could spread the beautiful meaning that science has the power to unite people, and no matter who you are or what ethnicity you belong, or what background, we all made of star stuff, and the universe is within you. And like across the region is also different initiatives like the Young European Ambassadors. I have my colleagues here also, Adriana, Visar, and the others, who are part of different initiatives. And actually, if you're coming from the Western Balkans, We Balkans every year opens this call for new ambassadors, which you could also be one of them. We have different initiatives. We raise our voices. We go in Brussels, in Strasbourg. We try to tell that this part of the world is also in Europe, and we should not be seen like some waiting list, because we are contributing and we are Europeans, just like every other country. I also participated to the European Youth Event. I don't know if you did that this year. It was in Strasbourg. I see that there's also a lot of participants from Germany and from Poland, Romania. We are all Europeans at the end of the day, and we all share common values, and we have same values, and we all want to be part of this. And so we know that this region knows the cost of division, and this is why we need to innovate peace, and that's what we're doing. And the Western Balkans should be seen as a laboratory of resilience, and not, just some post-conflict countries. And we are not Europe's problem to fix, but we are Europe's partners of building a more secure Europe and a more united continent. So we should change the narrative of this, and we should see like the Balkans are contributing, not just getting funding by the European Union. And I think we are closer and closer to joining the EU. We are in that path. And me, as coming from Kosovo, I know the struggles of visa liberalization until recently, last year, I think. We could not travel in Europe. And European Union was giving all these double standards, and because they were learning from their mistakes, and Kosovo was the one to have all these new standards and trying to implement that. So our youth can be co-authors of Europe's peace and security framework, not just some, like footnotes, to answer your question, Kimeta.
Thank you, Suel. You mentioned that you do that. You combine science with citizen diplomacy, and you create such a cross-boarding like astronomy projects. How can these initiatives be scaled or supported to promote reconciliation and peace building, cooperation across ethnic and also national division in Western Balkans?
Mm-hmm. Well, in Kosovo, we still have, we are not fully so much integrated. Even though it's 93% Kosovo Albanians, there's still Serbs, there's Bosnian, Turks, Roma, Ashkali, and there's other communities living in Kosovo. So I have seen that astronomy has the power to unite people, no matter their backgrounds or where they come from. We had recently support from RICO and the Western Balkan Fund to organize cross-border initiatives such as the multi-ethnic astronomy camps, which we brought together young people from diverse communities across the region in Kosovo to unite under one sky. Because I believe that boundaries vanish when we look skyward, and we are one people, one sky at the end of the day. So so it was not just about observing with a telescope. Maybe one telescope doesn't have the same price as a youth summit, but it has the power to bring together young Kosovo Serbs and Albanians to look at the rings of Saturn. And this does not include politics. It's so because we always ask these questions: why are we here? What are we doing here? And little do we know that the universe is within us. And when we look at the night sky, the Milky Way, we see that all the stars is we should feel big because the universe is within us, like your iron in your blood, your calcium in your bones. They are all made from the stars, the ingredients. Just like when you make a cake, you put the main ingredients and then you have the final products. It's the same for us. And these initiatives, they bring together and create inter-ethnic trust and collaboration because it removes these prejudices that we have with each other, and we learn love with each other, and we see that this prejudice can be removed from partnerships and new friendships created, which is also this youth conference, meeting each other and seeing that we have different passions, but we have same, ideas, and we inspire, and we are all, connected in somehow. And other initiatives could be also, because this MOVE project helped me go to different Western Balkan countries to get in touch with different astronomical institutions, which we want to create some kind of like football league or football federation, but with science and STEM education, and to contribute to data and observations with NASA, because in the future we will have scientists also from the Western Balkans, and we will have maybe Prize Nobels also from this part. I mean, even Nikola Tesla was from this part of the region, which maybe you all know, and so other scientists. So science and citizen diplomacy can replace political dialogue. That's what I believe, because they can create the human foundation. This can last in these divided communities.
Impressive. Also, regarding to governance, you mentioned that not everything is political, but also when in the end of the day, also political issues affects us directly as youth. I want to ask you, in a building inclusive governance, what concrete steps are needed to ensure that youth, especially women and minorities, move from symbolic participation to real influence in shaping both national and European security agendas? And can you, for example, share more examples that this is already happening somewhere?
Well, that's an important question, and usually these other minorities, when there are such events, are only invited to take pictures, but not, for them to be part of the decision-making processes, which is very important. And we at the Pristina Observatory, for example, we've had other minorities in Kosovo contributed. We turned this into, like we did a beautiful mosaic, we painted the murals, and we included other communities. And until now, we have more than 30,000 visitors, where it's not just people, Albanians, there are other communities, other minorities. We have this called Astronomy for Equity and Inclusion, which we want to include other underrepresentative groups and minorities, and we had this festival, Art Without Limit, which we wanted to show, like, what about blind people, how they can look through a telescope, what about them? So we have also programs for them. And we also launched this UN Youth Assembly, which maybe some of you has participated. It's the biggest UN youth event in Kosovo, which we had other communities living in Kosovo and the region who contributed not just as participants, but with their ideas to the Youth Assembly. So with this recommendation, how we can make our lives better on a daily basis. And so we can give a platform for change. And then we had Coffee with Champions, which we were meeting leaders, activists and artists from the region, so we could directly meet them and ask questions to them, not just because sometimes it's impossible to meet these people, especially politicians. So then now we have the new law for youth, which different minorities and NGOs contributed to with their recommendation for the youth. We have now the youth card also, which is being implemented with different opportunities. In the region, we have RICO, we have Young European Ambassadors. We also have, we have like Adela, for example, from Bosnia. She is in the chair wheel. She is contributing, as a Young European Ambassador. And so, of course, we need concrete actions, maybe advisory councils in our regions that we could, we could have concrete actions and have financial support like RICO. RICO usually always have financial support which you can put your ideas to use. The Regional Youth Cooperation Office. I was one of the beneficiaries with Under One Sky, which you could also apply and put your ideas into action. And we had Western Balkan funds, for example, which is giving also funds for your ideas to get into actions. Even though I'm the leading my organization, but the majority of our organization, for example, are women and girls who want to contribute and are leading force within our organization. And for the first time, we organized this conference called Women and Girls in Astronomy, which we want to acknowledge also women and girls in these fields, which we usually don't mention. Usually there's only guys. And today we have different leaders, and we are training the next generation. And this is how we transform together. And we do not just sit there, but we become part of that, and also participated in this called Political Academy. Even though it was not about politics, it helped us gain these skills about how we can be part of the decision-making process, and how we can, because I also studied public policy and management. For example, one of our recommendations, which came from different minorities also, came that we should stop vaping, because vaping, has so many health issues, and it's being marketing a lot, which we came with a recommendation to change the law about this. I don't know about the other countries in the region. So we don't want just to sit on the table. We want to shape the menu. That's what I think.
Thank you, Cyril. Thank you, all of you, that you share your valuable thoughts about it. Regarding that, you speak for the action. Right now, we are opening the hot seat. So we will see who will challenge himself to sit and ask or share his or her concerns about the topics that we elaborate today. Anyone? Thank you.
For myself, thank you. I know you're all tired or shocked from my
I thought
answer.
you were asking something, so yes. An applause for breaking the ice.
I forgot what was my question last time when I just shouted in. Do you remember?
Maybe you will remember when you
when I sit.
sit the hot seat.
When I sit and I remember.
It was about Austria.
Austria, true. Yeah, it's one thing the topic is also change from Western Balkans and building a peaceful and secure Europe. And the one thing is as you said, it's more help from Germany or from Western countries than it comes from it's weird in a kind of way that, for example, Bulgaria is now the one point why North Macedonia is not coming in the European Union, or there's still six of the three forbidden games in football is between Kosovo against Bosnia, Kosovo against Serbia, and Kosovo against Russia besides, but to both others. Is it not good that we need to do something also? I get we are all here, we see that when you go to the Balkan, you see it's more secure now. It's not anymore like all is tense and people from Kosovo and Bosnia and Serbia can sit in one room without punching each other. But is it maybe also like a thing that it will be more a good signal for the EU when the countries who are right now in the EU also help and not like blocking things? Because I think when, from the perspective of the EU, when I start to give, for example, North Macedonia then the thing, and maybe, I don't know, Bosnia, then it will be more difficult and difficult to have relationships with Kosovo, and then Kosovo will search another table, for example. Do you understand what I mean? That's until the Balkan is not together, like starting to be more colloquial to each other, the Western will not. They will not do something for the Balkan.
Who will answer? Who will share?
I can start. Yes, indeed. Within our region, there are several scars of ethnic conflicts, of different issues, but I don't think that should stop the EU of effectively intervening and treating this region as space that's ready for EU accession and that's part of the EU. Because these kind of things, we're in a way biased of how we perceive this. Because we look at it, this kind of football match where these hooligans are shouting at the others and haha, we're laughing, this is the Balkans, it's the Balkan spirit, they're all fighting within each other. And that's how it's perceived. For the West, it's an experience. It's nice, we go, they fight among themselves, they don't even know why they fight, because the West doesn't know. But if we know about the conflict and about some, the thing that, I don't know, the Dutch make fun of the Belgians because they have bad roads, we do the same between ourselves, but that is perceived as European, that's not an issue, or the ethnic conflicts that are there, because the West also has ethnic conflicts. We also have Spain and Catalonia, but this is not perceived in a way as a savage space. This is a space that's safe for EU intervention, but here we need to prove ourselves in a way to the EU, which I don't think it's the case, because as mentioned, the West also has their own problems and ethnic conflicts, and I think, of course, while definitely agree these things should be solved and can be, this justice and needs to take some years, and it will take time and generations to change mentality and so on, I still think the discussion should be ongoing, and there's no reason to stop it, in my view.
I totally agree. It's not the thing that it's not my position in the thing, but
Yes.
the EU has the power right now. They can change who they want to let in, who they don't want, and they have, like, with all Balkan states. Germany has like contracts with Bosnia, with Albania, with stuff to get like young people to the brain drain, to have them as cheap workers, for example. So why should the EU do something to put the countries in when like countries like Bulgaria or other Balkan countries who are right now in the EU like also blocking it? It's like, why should France or Germany should do something? They're like for them, it's the best case scenario right now. They can get all the young people, they can have like the cheap contracts. Why should they put like countries in when not like the Balkan countries who are in sect? I'm supportive. I want that like we go out of the scars and we have our conflicts, but it will be better when our neighbor is also like inside the EU, and then we can also inside the EU we can also work together things out, that we have still conflicts, but that's the thing what I'm sometimes think, that we are just talking in a utopic way but not in a realistic way, that nothing will change until the people in the region start to be like in a peaceful and secure environment. But until then it's like waiting for Godot. It's like you're waiting that someday Europe will come and give you the
Yes, Suel, please.
So that's why we always say youth is the future, is the power, and this and that. But us being here, young people from the Western Balkans and from Europe, gives a strong message that the solution should come from us, from the Balkans, not from Europe. We should not be waiting Europe to save us, because we should be saving ourselves. And I think it's important, because you're looking at something behind my back. You made me curious now. I think that we should be all equally treated first in the Balkans. For us, when we have mutual respect with each other, and we mutually treat each other with respect, and we recognize each other. Oh, we're famous now. You see, that's what I like about the Western Balkans. Balkans is not just some post-conflict place. It's where, as I told you, we're contributing. And of course, because, 25 years ago we had the war, 26 years ago. And when the former Yugoslavia broke up, there's still ethnic divisions among each other. But this is why we as young people, participating in such programs and activities, we can remove this, and we can change. And I think we can change for better. We see that if some Serb and some Albanian in Gračanica, there's a city close to the capital Pristina, can coexist with each other, and Serbs can speak Albanian or Albanian can speak Serbian, like why they cannot do that like in other parts of the region? And I think it's just our current politicians who are still connected to the past, who don't want to let us move forward. Because when I meet my peers from the region, they don't share this. It's not like this. So this is why it's important for us to be in the decision places, or have high positions, so we could change this narrative. And first we can start from us, and then we don't need Europe. Maybe Europe will need us. So even though we're part of Europe, we're Europeans, but we cannot, I feel like we're always chasing European Union and this, which is not fair, because they should be treated as also as Europeans and as equals, and just like the rest of you guys. Of course, Europe has different issues, and the Balkans is still fresh, but we're working toward that. So I think great things have small beginnings. I'm not a politician. I cannot give political answer. I'm just a young guy from Kosovo, which I can share my perspective. So don't expect me that I give you these diplomatic answers like politicians do.
But I agree with you. It's like the thing. It's very good. It's the thing. And
Thank you
else.
for your question. I think also the mentality affects, because if an individual react in that kind of way, it means that the result is that all country covers between that action. And I think that, for example, we have statistics like Kosovo is ranked the second in whole EU for the safest place to walk alone in the street right now. And when we talk about Kosovo, we have 40% of population there is youth, and you can feel the safe everywhere. But if someone like Kosovo plays in the game a football match with another country, and the one person reacts in prejudicing or stereotyping somewhere and talking bad, and someone reacts, it doesn't mean that the whole country is like that. That is the topic. So thanks. Yeah,
I just want to ask people my peers from Germany, where do young people go or stay? Every time I come to Germany, in Munich or somewhere, it's not like I see a lot of young people in the streets. It's not the same narrative for the Balkans. You come to Kosovo or Serbia or Bosnia, Montenegro, you see a lot of young people in the streets. So I'm wondering, where do young people stay?
Or they are partying at night, maybe.
Do you guys have young people?
We are old.
I mean, you are young, but I'm saying, or maybe there's a lot of people that I don't see young people. Or maybe, I
Maybe
don't know
he
if-
will answer.
Yeah, I think like in Germany we are like a minority because like the demographic thing is that like in the Balkan states there are more young people. Like Germany has like every city. It was like in the panel, like in the discussion before I talked like about this topic. But it's interesting because before today I didn't knew that Kosovo was one of the most secure countries because like when you go to the German embassy website they don't recommend you to go to Kosovo. There's like a warning to not go to Kosovo, not go to crowded places in Kosovo, also not crowded places, not Macedonia, and it's like from the official state of thing. That's why that's what I want to say. I'm completely agree with all of you and like the whole. That's why we're all here. But like in the majority of like people in Germany or Western countries, this cliche is still very big and still also like institutionalized from embassies and from the systems. Hugh said like Germany is one of the biggest supporter, but I know from a German perspective that Germans are not so good to talk about the Balkan states because they always said, oh yeah, there's always conflicts and always danger and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for pointing it out. Like, but the reality in the ground is different. I mean, I invite you all to come and visit Kosovo, not just Kosovo, but the region. The narrative is different when you come. Okay, we have some situation in the northern part of Kosovo with the Serbian community living in that part, which they refuse to integrate into Kosovo society because of whatever is happening with the region and politics. But it's completely safe. And I just recently saw that Kosovo was marked the second in the world, I think, which is the safest country to live in. And you can easily have your child and just leave to play alone, and nobody can steal the child or kidnap it, which is not the same for United States maybe. I mean, you only see this in the Balkans. Or, even when I go to the beach in Ulcin or somewhere, I can leave my bag there and come back, go swim and come back, and it's still there. And when I go to Barcelona or Milan, I see that there's a lot of pickpockets, which of course are everywhere, but we are very hospitable as a Balkan. We are very hospitable people, and maybe you have seen yourself that when you come, we say that the guest is our God when you come to the house. And I think you have to experience that, the Balkan hospitality.
Thank you both for your valuable thoughts. Thank you also. I will drop the mic. Someone else? Haydeve. Keep. Come on. Yo, please. Answer in the hot seat, please. Yes.
Is it?
It's different view.
Well, I don't want to make them all get up. I just wanted to...
Thank you.
I don't have a big speech prepared or anything. I just wanted to answer the question about where young people in Germany go. We do have young people in Germany, but I feel like we were just talking about it in bigger cities like, for example, Munich, but also like Berlin, Cologne. It's getting really expensive to live in city centers, and like even like normal activities, like whatever, going out and doing some cultural stuff or whatever, it's just getting really expensive nowadays, which is why most of the younger people just don't really hang out in city centers anymore. We're trying to find other stuff to do. There's this new trend, you've maybe heard of it, where people meet up and just gather to eat pudding with forks, just so they have a reason to meet up and don't have to pay for it. And yeah, that was basically it, all I wanted to say. It's the city centers, like Sarah also just mentioned that, like, for especially in Munich, for example, it's a very conservative city, and young people can't really express themselves in these cities as much as they would like to. So that's probably why we tend to like stay on the outer parts of the city and not really mingle in the centers anymore.
Thank you.
One thing that I envy about this in Central Europe is when I see like maybe young people gathered in a park, they do barbecue, they do music, they grab a beer in the grocery store, which is not maybe the same here. I mean, we usually like to go to bars and get drunk or something, which that's what I envy about that. You know, when I go to parks, I see people full like playing volleyball or something and gather together. So maybe that's what I would like to see in the Balkans also. You know, grab a beer and just sit in the park, not just and not just maybe in the bars or something.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
No worries.
Someone else? Please challenge yourself. Please.
Thanks. So I think that you already know me, but I will remind. I'm Milan and I'm from Poland, and I wanted to add a few things that I think are relevant to the topic that we mentioned. And this week I've had a pleasure of meeting a General Consul of Ukraine in Lublin, in Poland, and we talked about our differences as Poles and Ukrainians. And if you don't know, one of the main differences is that some Poles still are not really friendly to Ukrainians because of the mass murder that happened during the Second World War in the Wołyń in Ukraine. And he told me that his plan, or the Ukraine's plan on reconciliation with Poland, is also working together, being open, so not hiding things from each other as partners, and also doing a lot of projects together, because the more projects we do together, the less we think about our differences. And we can focus on the things that are important to us right now, and that can like enhance our friendship. Thanks.
Thank you, Milan. Please, Philip, if you wanted to add something.
I think reconciliation is often is always both a process and a result. So I think it's very important to analyze the situation with this lens or through this lens, and understanding that this takes time. And I think when it comes to workshops, I think it's always I don't know, I'm critical of them, because the environment that the workshops create are always somehow artificial, I think. Because you know why you're there to reconcile with people that you don't even know. Like, it's not even reconciliation because you don't know those persons, like especially the young generation. It always creates kind of superficial environment. And I think it's very important to normalize connections between countries or between people by doing it normally, by not just attending workshops and then going back to everyday life, still having a lot of prejudices, but like really engaging with in real discussions, meeting like in sports events or something like that, like really where you are naturally, not just because you are invited to attend a conference or a workshop, like really like live together, you know. I think this is more the better way. And I think reconciliation, you have to be, you have to let time pass, I think, because also when it comes to Germany and Poland, there was a border dispute for, I don't know, 40 years after the Second World War. And we were always talking about the Balkans being a post-conflict society with ongoing conflicts and never-ending discussions on borders or whatever. It was the same as well in Western Europe for a long time. And yeah, it just takes time really. And I think there's potential always if people meet and are open about each other. And I would say the best way to do this is not by attending workshops, but by really creating spaces or using spaces that already exist, like sports, for example, or music, and then engaging with each other.
Thank you, Philip. You want to share something for the topic?
Well, I can also add on the cultural diplomacy, actually, because I think that it's really a great tool of bridging gaps between the cultures, and especially tourism industry. But we also have to take note of the fact that promoting culture is a pretty costly initiative that is more of a domain of governments, but still there are some cases in which the initiative came from the society. For example, the case was Austria, when after the Second World War, Austrian government took the stance that Austria wasn't took a stance that Austria was a victim of Second World War and didn't really commit any crimes during the Second World War. And the thing is, there were crimes, but the society realized it after the Kurt Waldheim's scandal that the former secretary of the United Nations was involved in the murders during the Second World War. And the thing is, when Austrian society realized it, then local artists and other funders and public figures started speaking more about the need to reconciliate with the state of Israel, and the topic was so broad that the political stance also changed in that country, and now both of the countries have fully embraced their past history. So you can do it from the ground. You don't have to be a politician, but there has to be some spark from the society. And well, it doesn't have to be a mass murderer case like here, but something that will just inspire the society and let the society know that something is important to resolve.
Thank you, Milan. That is so important to mention that we also are, we should have a sparkle of change, everybody, like each of us. Thank you for your valuable sharing thoughts that I will draw a mix. Someone else? You, please.
Should I?
Yes, yes, please, please. Have a seat.
Well,
you have better view there, I swear.
okay. Thank you.
Because the lights are like...
We're gonna get
but
blind.
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say thank you to every one of you. You are doing really a very, very good job. I'm proud of you. And my question is, who inspires you and who is your role model? Thank you.
Oh, that's so good question. Who will speak right now? Who will start? Because all of you will speak.
I think this will.
I think Diana is like more.
Okay. I'm in the hot seat now.
Because I'm not letting you sleep. Sorry.
I don't know. I wish I could have something like an answer that is not so basic, a character, a figure, but
Just what you feel like.
no, for me, I think it's my grandfather, because I come from a very small town in Romania, and all my summer vacations were in the village. It was a very authentic experience, really Balkan, where we would buy watermelons from the corner of the street. You have the old men of the village discussing politics, and I started discussing with my grandfather a lot of topics, and that's how I became interested in politics. When I was small, I wanted to be a president. That was my dream, because he took me seriously and he discussed the sport with me. I still remember when we watched the Olympic Games in 2004. I was small, but I have this memory because he introduced me, treated me seriously, and discussed football with me, even though I was a girl, and also different things about politics, even though I didn't understand everything. So I think that inspired me, and he was very active in the village when we wanted to reconstruct the church that was a monument from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He was very active, and I think that stayed with me.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to me, I'm not sure actually, because I'm currently in the process of returning to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Even though I've never lived there, I've lived my whole life in Germany. Then I went to Austria to start my master's, and now I'm completing it in Bosnia. And I don't know, like the general trend is for people to leave the country or the whole region and then to go to Germany. And I'm coming from Germany to the region. And I don't know why. I cannot name a reason. I think it's emotions to some extent, but it's also, I think it's boring in Germany. I mean, you had made a great observation there. Germans don't really live in Germany, I guess. Yeah, and I think it's the life is much more interesting here. I don't want to sound like colonial or something, but it's just I feel better here when I live here, and I've been living here now, or in Bosnia, for 6 months, and before that in Zagreb for the same period, and I'm really in the process of returning. And of course I face challenges, and I have nobody to really guide me. I mean, of course I meet people here and I talk with them, and they say it's really cool that I'm doing this, and they don't know anybody else that's doing this. And I also don't know many persons that consider returning or going back to the roots. I don't know what is motivating me, and I think I don't need a reason. I think I just need the wish to do this, and the wish is there, and the dream is there. I don't know, and I'm doing this now, and I feel very, very good with it. And I don't want to sound cringe, but if you are a pioneer, I don't think you need a role model. You know.
I think it's just okay. You have this, like you have said, these emotions, these feelings. It's fine. So, therefore, it's important. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a very powerful question, and there's many, but one I would like to point out is Carl Sagan. Please Google who he is. He's an astronomer. The reason why he's famous about his pale blue dot, because from space, when you look at Earth, on the vastness of space, from that perspective, when Voyager, the farthest man-made object, went to Saturn, it took a picture of planet Earth, and it looked like a pale blue dot. Not so important. The universe doesn't care about us, trust me. There is no borders, no divisions. So I think that cooperation is not essential, it's a survival, it's a need that we should all do it. And I see him as my role model because he worked for peace and uniting humanity in a common goal. And no matter who you are and what you're made of, when you look at planet Earth from space, there's no borders anymore. The borders we humans have created. So I think that's what should unite us as one common and as one people. Because imagine what if we get invaded by some extraterrestrials. We don't care about if you're a Serb Albanian or German, Polish or Romanian. We all will be fighting for survival for a greater enemy than ourselves, humankind and our human species. And this is why we're voyagers. We have been voyaging this planet Earth since millennia. We started from the ground, the water, and now we want to go to another planet. We want to put our seeds in planet Mars. So I think we should be focused more on this, the future of humans and our future as the species, not our divisions. What color are you made of or what ethnicity? So that's why I see this person as my role model and I want to continue his path. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for the valuable question. We will drop a mic. Someone else, if we... Okay, please. I thought you asked me too, but neyse.
Hi everyone. This is really indeed a hot spot here. I'm Blendi. I'm from North Macedonia. Just arrived here, so I am not very much aware of the other conversations and discussions that you all had on the other panels. I just wanted to add some things on the conversations. My 2 cents. One of the biggest misfortune that the Western Balkans 6 has and the region has is someone here earlier mentioned that we are waiting for Godot. So I don't know how many of you have read the Waiting for Godot, the book from Samuel Beckett. If you have, please raise your hand. Just okay. So basically, the story for those who don't know it is basically 2 people, Vladimir and Estragon, that are going they are sitting and having conversation, right? And they are waiting for someone, in this case Godot, to come and find and give them answers for their life, to give them meaning for their life. And that's what has been happening with us in the Balkans, because we are all the time waiting for someone to come and give us answers, to come to us to show the way, what's the way. So in that manner, that's why we should start and see where the theory of change should start. Should we continue always to wait for someone else to come to us and say what's the proper path that we should take, or should we go towards another path? If you Google what are the symptoms of someone who has daddy issues, it will give you the names of our countries, because basically we have the same symptoms of anyone who might have daddy issues. The second thing why I'm mentioning this is because there have been cases in the European Union. If you are from those countries, it's better after me to share more about this. For example, Croatia. I just came from an exchange that we had with an organization from Croatia, and we were discussing this. Croatia, Bulgaria, Romania are 3 cases in the European Union that after they joined European Union, people still were leaving their country. So it didn't fix any issues. Even though in the Western Balkans, especially in North Macedonia, we have perceived European Union as the magic wand. We have thought that the moment when our country will enter the European Union, every issue will be fixed. Skopje will become Berlin, like overnight, and everyone will live in peace, which is not the case. The case should be, the theory of change should be that we should start doing the homeworks here. We should start thinking not just of joining the EU, but improving the standard of life that we have here, in order so when we join the EU, we don't have the case of Romania, we don't have the case of Croatia, and we don't have the case of Bulgaria, where people still live, because not many things have changed on that manner. So my theory of change is this. First is that do not skip the hard conversations. Someone spoke here earlier about the reconciliation. I believe that the reconciliation is doable only if you do not avoid the hard conversations. And it is very important to have those hard conversations, not just with one another now here, but also in your private relationships. If you do not have communication about the issues, the elephant in the room, everything will fail. Your friendship will fail. Your romantic relationship will fail if you do not address the elephant in the room. And then that's why I would love for these next days that we will be here to have those hard conversations. Even if you have contrary thoughts, opposite thoughts that I have, let's have the conversations. It's very important to have those conversations and to not skip any of what we perceive that it is a hard conversation. That's the first step that I believe it's a path to the theory of change for me. And the last one, this is a bit radical, so pardon me, about my controversial take. I was 3 years ago in a very panel discussion with ministers and some MPs. And I got a question from the audience that I was super optimistic, and someone said to me, you know, you need to be with your feet on the ground because you cannot change the politicians. And I responded to them, I said, who says that I'm trying to change the politicians? And my way of how I believe the theory of change is to happen is that you make the hard conversations with one another. You have self-initiative. You do not only come in an international youth conference and then go home and sleep like a sheep, but you take self-initiative and you continue to make a small change, like baby steps, in order to change something. And then, of course, we are not trying to change the politician, because when you take self-initiative, when you have the hard conversation with one another, the current politicians that we have, there are two ways for them. The first one is that they will retire soon or later. The second one is that probably they will die someday. So when these two cases will happen, the idea is that one of us here will be in a very influential, impactful position. And when you have the hard conversation, which is so important, when you have taken your whole life self-initiative to change the smallest thing that you have said that, oh, I don't like this in my neighborhood, and you have taken initiative to change this, believe me that whenever you will come to that position, after they will retire or they will die, you will see the real change that will happen. Not by waiting for some other forces to come here and make us a Disney World, but literally by us being more engaged and active and impactful on what we do. Sorry for taking so long, and sorry for not asking a question but giving my opinion, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Blendi. Thank you for... Thank you, it was so motivated. I think you woke up whole of the hall. Thank you. I will drop the mic, someone else. Adriana? Okay.
Thank you guys for the session. I don't have any questions regarding the topic. I just wanted to tell you that me and Kimeta yesterday we promised to our friend Suhel that we will promote his observatory in Pristina, so I will use this opportunity. He's not paying me that well for this, but we will negotiate it a bit later. So last week we visited the observatory. It was an amazing experience for us. We got the chance to touch the shooting stars and also to see the part of the moon and also Mars, if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, then just pretend I'm not wrong. So it was really amazing. We got also to see the Saturn. He let us took photos in the places where it was not supposed to be taken. And if you would ever be there, just contact him for some free tickets, hopefully. And I invite you to check this Pristina Observatory also in Google and to leave the best reviews. This is what he asked all of us for, so all of these reviews were not our honest reviews, it was just for our friend. So thank you also, Kimi, for giving me the space, and if there is anyone else who has some smart comment to make.
Thank you for the review.
I mean,
okay.
Thank you, Adriana. Whenever you come to Pristina, please come at the observatory. You can find me on Instagram, Suhel Ahmeti. Let's be friends, get connected with each other. And there's also observatory in Serbia. There was destroyed actually an observatory in Bosnia, but now there's one in Visoko. In Montenegro doesn't have one, unfortunately. Albania, no. But Kosovo had actually this observatory since the 70s. And it was
in North Macedonia, it says?
Not either. North Macedonia has a planetarium in Skopje, but not an observatory. But you have the fourth oldest observatory in Kokino, in Kumanova, but that was used to see when it's spring, when it's summer, to look at the constellations. So it was declared by NASA that is the fourth. It's actually in this part of the region. Adriana and the other people from the Berlin process came to visit us. And you could see, that's why I say that when we talk about the stars, we forget about where we come from and our politics and our indifferences. We are just united under one sky. So I encourage you all to dream big. And remember that sky is not the limit, okay? So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Soel, and also Philip and Diana, and also thank you, all of you guys. I want to finish this panel with a line that a theory of change also should start within us, and also with our actions to do something better in our communities, to develop our countries, and also so on. We can continue on also international dialogue and also for building some international relations. So a theory of change for me is like bringing the best sparkle of us in each and everything we do. So thank you once again, everyone who attended this panel, and also a little information. We have like okay, Nina, please continue.
Okay. Oops. For all of those, yes, thank you, Kimeta. I will come here. Yes, okay. Just a short logistical comment. For the reimbursement plan, everyone who has to proceed with this process, please meet me and Anastasia outside. We will give you the reimbursement claims. You will fill in all the necessary information, and you will share with me all your documents that you have from your traveling. And then on Sunday in the morning, we will complete the refundation process. Thank you, Kimeta.
Thank you all. I declare this panel closed. So thank you. We'll see afterwards.
Noche Barbie girl.